The title of this book is Project Paper Doll: The Rules. Author is Stacey Cade, and the rating I gave this book was 8 out of 10. If you are looking for a good, fast read, this is the book for you. When I first bought this book, I was afraid that it was just a typical plot of the ditzy girl falls in love with the boy she never could have. But I was actually wrong. Ariane is not a typical everyday girl. Her goal in life is not to be noticed, which isn't exactly what teenagers want. She's also not completely normal, though. 10 years ago, she escaped from GTX, which is a genetic lab. The scientists there turned her into a human and alien hybrid and kept her prisoner in the process. She actually believed her life there was a normal thing. That's what the scientists made her believe, at least. She now lives in a small town in Wisconsin near the GTX lab. She lives there and hides with her adoptive father, who actually works at GTX. Her father gave her 5 simple rules to never get caught by GTX. Never trust anyone. Remember they are always searching. Don't get involved. Keep your head down. And don't fall in love. Ever since she escaped the lab, she was obedient of these rules until a prank happened and she met Zane. One of the best parts of this book is the characterization. The two main characters, Ariane and Zane, are very similar. You will start to fall in love with these two characters because they are the ones who narrate the story. You get to see in both their minds and you see what their personality truly is. The chapters actually alternate between their points of view. You will start to recognize how similar their lives actually are, except the fact that Zane isn't a hybrid. Both Ariane and Zane are trapped by circumstances that they have a lack of control over. Ariane is trapped by all the rules she has to follow to stay clear from GTX and not draw attention. Zane is trapped by the people close to him, such as his selfish father, who makes him feel worthless, and also his friend Rachel, who uses him for her pranks. When Zane and Ariane met, they didn't feel as trapped and started to break out of their cells and rules that seemed to control their lives. Another thing that kept me hooked was the evolving personality of Ariane. In the beginning, she was a dull and sarcastic, but as the story developed, she became more human. What I mean by that is she started to accept emotions and stopped being a robot. Zane caused her to completely change. Zane gave her emotions she never felt before, happiness and love, emotions that allow us to feel more human. She also became more relatable because she didn't act like a robot anymore. She began to share more thoughts that she never did before. In the end, you truly got a taste of her actual personality. She is very caring and strong, which you never would have thought of in the beginning. I gave this book an 8 out of 10. I truly love this book. It was a fast read and I flew through the pages. I rated this an 8 because the plot isn't a typical plot. The relationship wasn't easy and it added depth to the relationship and characters. I also loved how the point of view alternated between Ariane and Zane because I started to pick out their similarities and why they fit together so well. I also liked how well developed the plot was. One thing always had a connection to the end result. The ending threw me into a loop and I loved it. If I could change one thing, it'd be to make the book longer. There are some spots in the book where Ariane and Zane's relationship seems rushed, and I wish the author expanded on their time together, or maybe even emotions together. I think the author should have developed the relationship more than she had from the start, because it seemed a little bit more like lust than love. One minor character that is really important to the story is Jenna. Jenna was Ariane's best friend, and all she wants is to be popular, and she would do anything to get there. Jenna was the sole purpose of Ariane being noticed and meeting Zane. Without the prank being pulled on Jenna, Ariane would have stayed under the radar, but she cared too much for her friend and got involved. This book was amazing, and I would highly recommend reading it. And also, it's part of a 3-book series, so don't forget to read the second book called The Hunt.